Hey everyone, thanks again for watching my videos. As I just stated recently, I completed the entire North American Nintendo 64 collection, which I'm very, very happy to have done. I did mention in that video, however, I was missing the instruction manual for these wrecking balls, which is a very common and easy manual to get. So you guys should have no issues or shouldn't stress about it if you think it's going to be a problem child. But now that this is out of the way, I officially do have the entire set now. All 296 games, all with the original boxes, manuals, and of course the games. There are a lot of variants out there, like the Rampage, 2 big box edition, and a few other ones that are pretty costly. And I might pursue those in the future, but as of right now, I'm happy with what I have right here. So today what I want to do is I want to go over the set with you guys. I kind of want to talk about some of my childhood favorites, some of the ones I recently discovered that are actually really, really fun, but probably often looked over. So with that said, let's get right into it. So before I start my video for the N64 set, I just wanted to mention that there currently is a typhoon going by. It doesn't look like much, but it's called Typhoon Goni, I believe, and it's actually a little bit noisy. Not too bad, but you kind of hear like a dripping noise out of my air conditioning unit. So obviously that's not in my house, of course, but if you hear that on and off throughout the video, that's pretty much what's going on. So as I mentioned, I wanted to go ahead and do this video for you guys. So we're just going to kind of go down the line, and then as we go, I'll kind of mention a few titles here and there. So the first thing I want to mention is the Armament Series. If you have not personally tried the series out, it's actually really, really good. It's one of the few 4-player multiplayer shooters on the system. So it's really fun if you just want to get a group together and go ahead and just battle it out. Obviously your little toy soldiers and big giant like rooms of like toys and stuff like that. Okay, so you have some problem childs on the system. The Bomberman second attack right here. This one, it's actually pretty fun, but if you're looking for a complete copy, it can get pretty pricey and kind of climb up there pretty quick. Another one, it's not too pricey right now, but the Castlevania one right here is another hard one that took me to get. For the most part, most of these boxes are in really, really, really great shape. That's why it's taken me so long to complete the set. A little over 2.5 years it's taken me to finish this set. Another hard one you want to keep your eye out for if you're looking in the wild. If you come across this in the wild, you're a very lucky person, but Clay Fighter Sculpture's Cut is a good one. Obviously Conker's Bad Fur Day is a fun game for the system. It's one of the few games that's really, really vulgar for the system. But it came out late in lifespan, so you didn't actually hear too much about it. Until later on, of course. Now it's kind of has like a cult following, and prices are starting to climb on that as well. So another one you don't want to miss out. You definitely don't want to miss out on Elmo's Numbered Journey. That's one of the best games on the system, of course. But in all reality, it probably is a good game for children. I've seen some reviews saying elsewise, but there's not too many educational games on the system, so if you have children and you want to introduce them to older games, maybe that could happen. Gauntlet Legends was a fun one. That's actually not that bad of a port from the arcade. However, Goldeneye, obviously, you can't go wrong with Goldeneye. That's probably one of the biggest games on the system, especially upon the time of its release. It probably drove the sales of the system like crazy. Higgy's Wrecking Ball, as mentioned, finally finished that. The Indiana Jones right here was a fun one to get. I actually managed to get it, forget it on top of the roof of my car the day I got it, because arrived in the mail at work actually, and I actually lost it for a week until someone turned it into a post office. Very, very happy for that. International Superstar Soccer 2000. This one's actually not too bad to get if you don't care about the English text on the back. because there's a lot of Spanish ones, which are a lot more common. So that one is a fun one to try to track down. That one's actually factory sealed, so it took me quite a while. That was actually one of the last 3 I needed to complete the set. Another one that most people probably overlook, but when I was going for the Legend of Zeldas, I did both the Collector's Edition and non-Collector's Edition. For Majora's Mask, I don't know if it really affects the value, but the non-Collector's Edition is actually a lot less common. I don't see it show up that often. So if you're going for the complete set, I say look for that one early. Obviously you got your Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. So you got this game right here, Load Runner. This is a fun little puzzle game. You kind of run around like mazes. There's different blocks and you have to try to make it to the exit of the level. But meanwhile there's guys chasing you, so you have to figure out different ways to trap them in blocks and stuff like that. So if you want a fun game for the system that you can pick up relatively cheap, you should pick that one up. Obviously your Maddens, they're gonna pump those out like crazy. This is actually one of my all-time favorite games, and it is my favorite Mario Kart 64, of course. Mainly because of battle mode. Something that's really not really relevant in the game series anymore, sadly. You got the Mario Party series, which is good. These will like literally destroy your hand and blister if you try to go crazy on the joystick for the controller. Mega Man 64, this is actually one I didn't play in its prime back in the day, but I've played it recently about a year ago and I got really hooked to it. However, the save system in this game is absolutely horrendous. So that didn't make any sense. Like sometimes you'll fall into a dungeon and you'll literally have to beat the entire dungeon before you can get back to the save point, which could be very frustrating because if you die, you just lose it. Potentially hours of work. The micro machines are pretty cool. They got little tiny micro machine cars that change per box. I'm not sure how many are out there. A lot of people have said that the Mission Impossible is actually pretty good. I think this was kind of like the N64's competition of Metal Gear Solid at the time, but it's not really. The little I played of it's nothing like Metal Gear Solid. Mortal Kombat's always fun. They get the whole Mortal Kombat series here. This Pac-Man's actually not a bad game at all. The NBA Showtime right here. If you like NBA Jam on the Sega, this is definitely a great. I don't really know the story behind it, but this is pretty much. It feels like it's a sequel. It's essentially the same game. I heard that the NBA Jam for the actual system itself just used the name, but isn't actually anything like the original. The Blitz series is probably still to this day holds up very well. There's a lot of these games that don't hold up well with the test of time, but that is definitely one that did. Paper Mario. Perfect Dark is actually one of my favorite games on the systems. I actually like this one more than Goldeneye. So surprisingly, even though this was a really good seller, a lot of people did not try this one out. So if you get a chance, try this one out. It has a lot of really interesting weapons. It even brought some of the levels from GoldenEye over. And you could actually add 8 players, like computers, in the game at once. So if you try and throw it on one player, the difficult level, you got all these computers that just run at you. Pokemon Stadium, still really good, but kind of feels like it's cheap at the same time when you're trying to fight, and some of these enemy Pokemon are just crazy overpowered. Rampage is a very good game. Very repetitive, but if you want to kill some time with a friend, just go ahead and throw that one in. You're pretty much just monsters just destroying a city. Just going at it. You got the Rush series. Those are some really fun racers. A lot of people really like the Snowboard Kids. The little I've played, I didn't get really too big into it. Chef's Love Shack right here is actually a game that I played a lot of as a kid. It's pretty much a rip-off of Mario Party in a sense. or well, not I don't want to say Mario Party, but it incorporates all the little mini games and stuff like that you see in like the Mario Party in a sense, and then you have it's like a trivia game, and then you go into the games. Starfox, really popular one. Stunt Racer, this was a fun one to track down. Super Bowling has been kind of climbing up. Obviously Super Mario 64 is one of the biggest reasons to own the system. Actually, it's still really, really good. Especially if you see some of these like 3D titles nowadays, how they haven't really stood the test of time. Yet this game was one of the first to really do the full 3D like world, and it's still really, really good. Smash Bros is probably one of Nintendo's most popular franchises. The Tony Hawk series is awesome. Tony Hawk 2 is my favorite one. I played it when I grew up, though. I played on the PlayStation 1, so I didn't really try this one too much. I don't know if they vary or if they're pretty much on point. Transformers is another one that's a little fun to get. The Turok 3, that one there's actually quite a few copies, but getting that one in good shape seemed like it was just a pain. You know, here they have so many wrestling games on the system. I know we have like the SmackDown vs. Raw games or whatever nowadays, but this system just went crazy with them. You kind of skipping ahead, like Wrestlemania 2000 right here. Just there was so much in this, and I think maybe it was this one, No Mercy, had the briefcase match, and you had to climb a ladder, try to get up there for the briefcase. The Worms Armageddon. This one has actually been climbing up there in value, but one thing I really, really like about this game is Worms is actually one of my all-time favorite franchises. And it's kind of an oddball game. You're little tiny worms in combat, actually. Let me focus in on this for you guys. But the screenshots don't do it justice, but pretty much you have like a side-scrolling landscape. You're just taking turns, essentially, fighting to the death with a huge arsenal of weapons, banana bombs, grenades, old granny bombs, really, really weird weapons. But this is a really, really fun one that I recommend checking out, just because it's not going to hurt you to try it. They still make the games today. There's a company in the UK, Team 17. They just made a new one, and if you're more into physical copy games, the most recent one was only released in PAL format, but like thankfully the Xbox One and PS4 are not region locked, so you can actually just go ahead and import it and be good to go. So you kind of wrapping it up now. This is obviously the complete set, as I mentioned. We can focus right here. We just went through all of them. I keep everything in alphabetical order, or I try to anyways. And actually try to keep everything inside. One thing I did just get recently was actually this as well. Like I said, I'm not really into the variants and stuff like that yet. This is actually, you just got this if you reserve the Donkey Kong 64. This is a factory sealed one, actually, and it has a little plush inside, I believe. It's from what I've read online. I haven't really looked too much into it, actually, but it's pretty cool. Yeah. So, here you guys go, one last overview, and thanks again for watching. Have a good day.